They wanted us to think about yarns that were eco-friendly. What's it called? What am I thinking? So hello and welcome to episode 78 of the Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast. My name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. Welcome to today's episode. It's been a couple of weeks since I filmed, so I've got a few things to catch up on. So let's get started. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm sorry the lighting is a little bit weird in here today. I've had to close my curtain because it's very sunny outside and the sun is just streaming in. And also my main light bulb has gone and I haven't got around to changing it. So normally when I turn the light, when I close that curtain, I quite often will turn the main light on to brighten this part a bit, but I can't do that because I forgot that it was broken, and I don't really feel like going downstairs and trying to find a light bulb because I don't know if we got any. So today I'm going to talk to you about what I've been knitting. I've finished a couple of things. I've cast on and finished something since last time, and I've got a couple of things still on needles, and I've got some plans for the next month, so let's have a chat about that as well. So first of all, this thing that I'm wearing, this cardigan, it's not actually hand knitted, and it's even 100% acrylic, which is not good, but I bought it because of the colour. It is really as bright as it looks on the screen, so I hope that won't mess with your screen settings or give you problems with your eyesight. It is very, very bright, but I was feeling a little bit chilly before I started filming, and now I'm actually feeling quite warm, so I might actually take it off in a minute. I bought this mainly because of the fact that it was the colour. I don't tend to buy things that are 100% acrylic because I don't really like wearing things that are 100% acrylic, but I just love this colour. I don't actually wear it that much. It's like it does meet, but it doesn't have buttons. It's just like an open cardigan, and it's by 3/4 length sleeves, and I love it. But because it's acrylic, I don't find it that comfortable. But I was wearing this khaki t-shirt dress today and I needed something to throw over, and I thought this went quite nice with the khaki, so there we go. I've actually been for a pedicure today, and I'm not going to show you my toenails because I'd have to lift my feet up in there and I'm not going to be able to do that. But the colour is actually very similar to this. A little bit darker, a little bit more purple, but it's a gorgeous colour and it's so bright. I absolutely love it. But let's get on to the knitting content because that is why we're here. But I just want to say that this is not hand knitted, but I love that colour. So let's talk about what I've been knitting. So what should we start with? So I think in the last episode, I think I had finished this. I forgot. Normally I write down notes for each episode, but I forgot. But I think I had finished this little lacy scarf that I knitted in a week. I'm actually going to release the pattern, I think this week. I haven't 100% made up my mind yet, but if I do release it, it will be in my newsletter this week. There will be a launch discount because I always do 25% off when I launch a new pattern. Make sure you sign up to my newsletter so you don't miss out on discounts and special offers and new patterns and news. I did actually, this last weekend, I'm filming this on a Monday and this actually ends today, but it was a bit of an impulse decision last week because we were coming to the end of the month, and to be quite honest, June has not been the best month in terms of sales. I've also only taught one workshop this month, so it's been a bit of a low month in terms of income, and because we were on holiday last month, we've had my parents staying, it's been an expensive month. So I did like an impromptu weekend sale. The information went out in my newsletter on last Thursday, or was it Friday? Thursday, I think. I normally send out my newsletter on a Thursday, and it was just 15% off my website from over the weekend, and it ends today, the day I'm filming this, not the day this is out. So if you're not signed up to my newsletter, you will miss out on things like that. I try and share as much as I can here, but sometimes I decide to do an impromptu thing and then it's too late because I've already filmed this. So do make sure you sign up to my newsletter at YarnAddict.co.uk or click the link below in the description below this video. So if this goes out this weekend, it will be in my newsletter. I will try and remember to add the link. Problem is I'll upload this to YouTube before I add this to Ravelry, and then I might forget, but I will try and remember. But normally I try and do like the pattern discount for a new pattern, so that it goes over 2 weeks newsletters. So if you sign up when you see this video, this week's newsletter would have gone out, but next week's information will still be in there. Plus you'll find it on social media, on my Instagram, Instagram, Twitter, and my Facebook group, Love of Lace Knitting. If you haven't joined, please join us, especially if you're into lace knitting. You can find all those links below as well, and do follow me on social media. It is worth, especially with Instagram, because the algorithm there, it is worth to actually click on some of the people that you follow once in a while and see what's happening. Just because otherwise, if you never interact with anyone, with somebody, Instagram isn't going to show you any of their posts. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping, so do make sure you follow me in all those places. Also, Twitter's been acting up funny over the weekend. I will try and remember, I've actually joined Mastodon. I will try and put my Mastodon link below. I have also joined TikTok. I think I posted 1 or 2 videos on TikTok. I have no idea what I'm doing on TikTok, but I thought if I'm creating like video content for Instagram and like short form video content for Instagram and YouTube, which sometimes I'll just film myself knitting or something, I might as well post that on TikTok as well. But apart from that, I have no idea what I'm doing on TikTok, and I haven't spent a lot of time over there yet. But I will put all those links below this video, so if you are in any of those places, do come and say hello and follow me. So let's talk about what I finished. So last video, I know I talked about this poncho. I'm not going to put it on because you can't really see how it fits anyway with me sitting in this chair and there isn't enough space. So what I'll do when I actually release the pattern, which won't be till probably August, because I haven't finished writing it yet and sent it to my tech editor, but when I finish it, I will do a video of me actually wearing it so you can see it. But we got some photographs of this yesterday. I haven't looked at them yet. I think they're okay, but I haven't gone through them properly yet. I'm going to try and finish off the pattern tomorrow and send it to my tech editor. But this is the Zauber ball poncho that I've been working on for the last 2 months, nearly 2 months. I started before we went on holiday to Spain in May, and I knitted quite a bit on holiday, and then I carried on since we came back. I'd hoped it would be a 2-skein project, so 200 gram, but to get the size I wanted, I had to use 300 grams. I probably would have preferred to have a teeny bit longer, but that meant I probably could have got 1 more repeat out of the yarn I had, but I have to allow a little bit of safety margin just in case. If you want a smaller size, you can probably do with 200 grams. If you want a larger size, so either if you're bigger than me, or if you're tall, or if you're both bigger and tall like me, then you probably would want the larger size. If you're short but bigger, then you may still want a larger size, because it kind of goes out. Not being rude, because obviously I am a larger person myself, but when you are wider, broader, it goes out before it goes down, so then you need a bigger size to make it come down to the length you want. But all the obviously measurements and stuff will be in the pattern when it comes out. But I'm very, very pleased with it. And we managed to get some photographs yesterday, and I'm going to finish the pattern and get it off to my tech editor ASAP. I wanted to have the pattern ready for Yarndale in September, and quite often I will get to like a month before the show and then think, oh, I really need this pattern, and then I'll start working on it, and obviously it will be too late to get it finished. So this time I thought I would be organized and get it done early, and I have, so I'm really pleased with that. The other thing I finished is this one. Whoops, I just had a sock here ready to show you, and that's fallen off. So last time I filmed, I had started making a new clutch, but I was making it holding 2 strands together. That's actually what's left of that clutch. I wasn't happy with it, so I unwound it. I think I talked about it in the last video, and I decided to knit it on smaller needles and just holding one strand. And then I added beads. So I decided to add green and purple beads because I couldn't make a decision about what colour. There are no beads on the base, but they are on the front and back. The markers are just there to help me count rows and measure. I haven't lined it yet. Oh, there's a lipstick in there that I brought up from downstairs. In fact, I haven't actually finished sewing it up yet. So I sewed these on. I finished it last night. I pressed it quickly at lunchtime, and then I sewed these on because you couldn't really tell much without sewing the frame on. So I sewed that on before I came upstairs after lunch, but I haven't lined it yet, so I need to line it, and I need to finish the sewing up. I just did it very quickly so I could show it to you, but it opens up like that and closes like that. So I'm really pleased with it. I am going to try and line it in felt. So if you use cotton to line it, because the fabric is quite soft, and I would like it to actually stand up, so when I open it, it would like sit on the table open like that. So I could use it as, say, like a knitting bag, or as a handbag, clutch bag, evening bag, whatever. But I'm thinking I might occasionally want to use it as a project bag. So then it'd be really useful if I can make it sit open like that, because that stays open. But to do that, if I line it in cotton, I would have to put a quite stiff interfacing on, or quite thick interfacing. And I do have a basket in the far corner over there which I need to go through, and I may have some interfacing left in there. A few years ago, when I got into sewing, when I was like taught to sew as an adult, I got really into making bags, and I bought a variety of interfacing, some like foamy thicker interfacing, stiffer interfacing, various types, and I may still have some left, but my sewing skills are not what they were. I mean, they were never great, but I got to the point where I could make a bag and a quilt just about, as long as you didn't look too closely at my seams. But I haven't done it for a long time, so I was thinking I might make it easier on myself if I get some felt to line it, because felt is thicker. I don't know whether it's going to be thick enough though. So I popped into the local sewing shop, and they had some pre-cut felt, which I don't actually know whether it's going to be the right size, but they only had like one sheet of each colour, so I got those 3 colours. I don't actually mind if the lining is different colours, but I need to try and like pin this together and see if I can make it into the right size and shape before I cut anything. But then they had some larger pieces of felt, so I thought I got 2 of these, but it looks like I only got 1, unless I dropped one. So I could have sworn I got 2. This feels a little bit thinner. I'm wondering whether I would want to try and get slightly thicker felt, but I don't know what thickness this is. And I thought it'd be easier to go into the shop and buy it, because then I could see it and I wouldn't have to worry about the thickness and things. Because I thought if I go and buy it online, I will be worrying about how thick it is, because I bought felt before that was like really thick. So I need to also see what I've got in my sewing basket up there. It hasn't been touched for quite a few years, so I need to actually go through it anyway. And then probably Friday, maybe towards the end of the week, I kind of want to do the lining for this and finish this off. I am going to cast on for another one, not a beaded one. I have another idea as well for one of these in a different stitch pattern, so I might try and cast on for that later this week as well. But I've got something else I need to crack on with first. So those are the 2 things I've finished since last time. So let's go on to what's actually on my needles at the moment. So the main project I've been working on, which I think I'd cast on when I last filmed, or I was about to cast on, I can't remember. Hang on, I've just got, there we go. That is a sweater. I can't actually show this to you. It's in this project bag from Bellica Yarns, which I got last year. I will just, I can't show it to you, so I'll show you any of the details. But I can show you like a little sneak peek. That's all you're going to see. So it's knitted in the round to the underarms, and then the front and the back are knitted separately to the shoulders. I finished the back. I'm on the front. I had kind of decided I want to try and finish the front over the weekend, but yesterday I decided to focus on trying to finish that instead. The idea was that I would finish this first, and then I would finish this. But I decided to finish this, so I had one thing finished for today. So I'm going to, when I go downstairs after filming this, I'm going to sit down and knit on that and try and finish it, or finish the front today and pick up for the sleeves tonight. My deadline is end of next week, Thursday, Friday I think it is next week, and it's Monday today, so I have plenty of time because the sleeves are 3/4 length, so I got plenty of time. But I would like to, if I can, finish it before the weekend. Bearing in mind it's Monday today. That may be a bit of a tough call, but we'll see. Depends on when I cast on for the second one of those and how distracted I get by that. The other project I've got on the needles is a pair of socks. So I've had these on the needles for a while. I cast on while we were in Spain. Hang on, let me just, I've just knocked a load of stuff off my desk now. That was the first one that I finished a while ago, or while we were in Spain, and then I cast on the second one. I think I cast on the second one in Spain. I can't remember. Anyway, I had made a little bit of progress, so that's where the marker was last time I filmed. It might not be the last one I filmed, because I don't know if I talked about this last time I filmed, but the one before that. Last time I talked about on the podcast, which might be 2 podcasts ago, that's where I was. And I got over half of this done when we were at my father-in-law's the other evening. I'm going to move this up, because I try and move it up every time I film, so I know where what I've done since the last podcast. So how much have I got left to go on the leg? Okay, so about there. So I'm hoping I might be able to finish this weekend. Our parents have been visiting, and we had to drive up to Heathrow and pick them up. And I thought I would take these socks and knit on in the car, but I actually took the sweater project I'm working on instead and mostly worked on that. Simon did most of the driving on the way up to Heathrow, and then I did most of the driving on the way home. And then we drove my parents back to Heathrow last week, and I did most of the driving on the way up. I didn't, and Simon did most of it on the way back. But I did a bit, but I didn't do as much knitting on the way back as I should have done. It went really well on the way up. We had no problems at all. So Heathrow Airport near London is about, without traffic or light traffic and without stopping, it's just over 4 hours from here. So obviously, because my parents had a flight to catch and we had to make sure they got there on time, with, so we got to allow extra time in, because we had to stop probably a couple of times. We had to get lunch. there might be problems on the motorway, so we allowed, I think, 6 hours. We wanted to get there for about 2, and we left here about 8. We actually left a bit before 8 because we were all ready to go, and we got there about 1, I think. And then my parents' flight was delayed by about an hour and a half, so they had a long time there to wait, but that's okay. But when we drove back, it actually took us 6.5 hours. We had a really long detour just south of Bristol, where they hadn't closed the motorway, but it was several lanes closed, so they were redirecting, or Google Maps redirected us a loop around, but some traffic or some cars did stay on the motorway, so I don't know what was quicker, but it did delay us quite a bit coming home. But you never know with motorways, do you, whether there's going to be a delay or not. So that's what I've been knitting. Last week, one of the videos I released was chatting about the latest issue of Knitting magazine. So that's issue 244. So if you haven't seen it, it was out last Thursday. Do go and have a look. It's a eco issue. I want us to think about yarns that were eco-friendly or ethical, local, that kind of thing. So the first one I designed, which is actually on the cover, is this little tank top, which I knitted in Blacker Yarns, which is actually based near me here in Cornwall. So that's what it looks like. If you want to see it on my dress form, it is in that YouTube video. And then I had a second design as well, which I will find quickly. There we go. Second design as well, that sweater, which is still on my dress form from when I recorded the video that was out last week. This sweater, that's knitted in Monos Uruguay silk blend, which is from Uruguay, so it has come a long way, but it is a cooperative that provides jobs for women in rural parts of Uruguay, and so it's an ethical, fair trade type company. So that's why I chose that yarn. Plus it's a really gorgeous yarn. So if you haven't seen that video, it's Knitting Magazine issue 244. It was on YouTube last week, and I will link it below this video. Also last week, on Tuesday last week, I released a sunny day vlog. I couldn't think of what else to call it, but it was a vlog following me for a day of work on a day when it was particularly warm and sunny here in Cornwall. But it's gotten a little bit cooler again in the last few days, but we've had a lot of sunny weather since we came back from Spain in May. So sunny day vlog last week, and knitting magazine 244 last Thursday. Those were the 2 videos on YouTube last week. This week is only a 1 video week. Next week there'll be 2 videos again. Let me just see what I've got scheduled in for next week. So next week I'm planning to release, there may be a change, but I'm planning to release a video talking about my knitting and design story, how I got started designing, and my kind of knitting story, if you like. And also possibly how much do I knit in a week, but it depends on how much knitting I get done this week, because if I get a lot of stuff done I may record another podcast early next week. It just depends on how much I get done and how busy I am. I don't have any workshops this week. My next workshops is until the end of next week, so there may be another podcast episode next week, there maybe only 2 weeks time, I don't know. It just depends on how much I get done. Another thing I'm trying to do at the moment is to go through all my samples, mostly stuff that have been published by magazines. So I do a lot of work for magazines, and I had a parcel back from Let's Knit a few weeks ago with most of the samples I've designed for them for the last 2 years, I think. And with Knitting Magazine I get them back monthly, but with Let's Knit and the Knit and Simply Knitting I get them back like once or twice a year maybe. So I've got a big box of stuff that I know I'm not going to need. Some patterns I want to self-publish, so those samples I'm hanging on to, but the ones I'm not going to self-publish, I just can't hang on to them. So I'm trying to be organized and list them. This one I actually did not list yet because it was just published, so I feel slightly bad listing it already. But I think that will go up later this week, probably before this video goes up. But there's some other stuff here that I've listed. Everything that's in here has been listed. It is mostly garments. There's a couple of kind of like poncho type things. It's mostly garments so far. I do have some shawls to put up as well. The garments are mostly a size UK size 10, because that's what magazines want, and obviously the shawls are not. So I'm putting them all up on Depop, which is a pre-loved site, this is the first time I've used Depop. Actually, I've also got some handbags and a couple of pairs of shoes on Depop. But let me just put that down. I decided to list them on Depop because in the past when I've had sample sale, I've usually put it on my website. And that's worked fine for shawls. I actually sold quite a few shawls through my website. But it doesn't work that well for garments. And quite often, a lot of the garments I've tried to sell through my website, I've ended up giving up and then just giving them to a charity shop. Which I don't mind doing, but I've given quite a lot of my hand-knitted garments to charity shops. And I'm not sure whether that's necessarily the best thing because they don't have labels and things. It's difficult for like sizing and care instructions and things. So I thought I would give selling them on Depop a go and see how that goes. So if you're interested, I'll pop my Depop link below, and I have activated this so you can order it internationally. I don't know how many countries Depop are in and how it works if it's not in your country. I don't know how it works, but if you click on the link, see if it works for you. I have set kind of like a set postage for international parcels for £10. If it costs more than that, then I will cover the difference. If it costs less than that, then I will refund the difference. But I just had to set something. I didn't have time to waste stuff and work it out. So I just guessed the £10 so that would cover most places. For Europe, it might be a bit too much for most things, but if it is, then I will refund you. So if you think you're being charged too much postage, either send me a message and ask me how much the actual postage is, and I'll try and work it out based on which country you're in, or just pay for it and then I will refund. If you paid too much, I will refund the difference. Another thing I've been thinking a lot about lately is my advent calendar, because I have actually ordered my 2023 advent calendar. I think most indie dyes have probably advertised their advent calendars by now. I did a video, I don't know whether it was the end of December or early January, where I talked about advent calendars and whether they're worth it or not. So I will try and find that and link to it below. One thing I would say is that if you order stuff a long time in advance, be careful about the refund window that PayPal or your card company gives you, because I think most are like 6 months. So if you order an advent calendar at the beginning of the year and you pay it in full, and come December that advent calendar doesn't turn up, or in the meantime that indie dye goes out of business, you won't get a penny back. And I haven't thought about that before. Last year I did order my advent calendars quite early, but I paid for them all in installments. So if they hadn't been delivered, I would have gotten something back, but they all came, so that was fine. So this year I've been trying to hold off a bit and not order them too early. I decided I didn't want to order from any of the companies I ordered from last year. But last year I did keep an eye on the indie dyes I follow and what the advent calendars look like. Obviously nobody's going to look the same from year to year. And then this year I've been keeping an eye out for their like inspiration photos and their like mood boards and things that they've been sharing. And I had actually decided I would probably go for another one. I've also been trying to avoid the ones that were selling the advent calendars too early, because I do worry about the fact that it's a very, very difficult environment to run a business in the UK at the moment. And I know that a lot of indie dyes are really struggling at the moment. And I do worry that some are going to go under. There are some that are close already this year. Obviously, I don't think they've sold advent calendars. But it does worry me a bit. And I wanted to make sure I didn't order an advent calendar for somebody that may go out of business. Obviously, there's never going to be a guarantee. But I want to try and leave it as late as possible so that if things end up going wrong, then I can at least get my money back from PayPal. So I've been watching, and I had kind of idea who I wanted to get my advent calendar from, and then I saw Truly Hooked. I saw Verity's mood boards for her advent calendar, and I really liked the colours. So I took the plunge and I ordered it. I'm paying by installments. So I think that would, because I only ordered it in June, I guess, or was end of May. So I think that should get me within the kind of refund window if anything goes wrong. But I have actually, I think I've seen on Instagram that she's actually started dyeing her advent calendar this weekend. Now, one thing I did find last year was that there were companies that were selling advent calendars in the autumn. There were a lot less of them, but there were also a lot of companies that once they'd sent their advent calendars out at in November had spares. So most indie dies who do advent calendars do die a few extra just in case any get lost in the post. And then if once they all get delivered and nothing's gotten lost, they will then quite often sell their spare ones. So even if you leave it till like November, sometimes you can snap up one. Obviously there's less choice, so if you've got your eyes on one, then it might be worth buying it early, but just be aware of the risk of if things go wrong. Anyway, I was very happy with the ones I got last year. They all delivered, so that's fine. One of the ones I got last year was Orchidean Luxury Yarns. I got 2.5 last year because one was just a 12-day one. The 12-day one was Spectrum Fibre, and that one I had worked up last year before end of November or early December. That was my Fantasy brioche wrap. I think it was called Fantasy. Anyway, that's the Orchidean Luxury Yarn. It came with 24 20-gram mini skeins plus solid colour. Can you see that there at the front of the box? I've been thinking a lot about what I'm going to do with this. I ordered the Merino, I think it is, base, which is 50/50 merino silk, 4-ply. And I ordered the Merino one because I wanted to knit a garment out of it. So I have been thinking a lot about what to do about it. I had an inspiration about, I don't know, a month ago, where I thought I decided what I was going to do with it. And then I kind of changed my mind a bit last week. So I got like 2 ideas. So I pulled out some yarn to swatch with. I don't want to swatch with any of the yarn from the advent calendar because I want to keep all that for the actual thing. But I got this left over from a design I did that was on the cover of Knitting Magazine at the beginning of the year. And the pinks are the same base. These are from Orchidean Luxury Yarns, and the pink ones are all the same base. It's the Merino base. This is the Yak Silk base. So I pulled up one of the pink ones from here and took it downstairs, and I'm going to start swatching this week. I was going to do it over the weekend, but I didn't get around to it. So that's one of my plans this week, is to start swatching. My other advent calendar, which I'll just grab it because it's hanging on the wall here, so I'll just grab it quickly. This is my other one. I took it out of the box it came in, and I strung it all up on the wall like that. So that's the one from Botanical Yarns. I had a bit of a block there for a minute. That's the one from Botanical Yarns, and I think I know what I'm going to do with it, but I don't know whether I have enough to do what I want to do with it. So I'm thinking all the way around that. I am thinking I might cast it on later in the summer. I've just booked to go to Norway at the end of August for 2 weeks to see my parents on my own, and I was thinking maybe I'll take some of this with me to work on that then. I bought some yarn in Norway last year, just this one ball of something, and I really would like to knit a garment out of that yarn. So before I go, so I got nearly 2 months, just under 2 months. Yes, just under 2 months, about 6 weeks maybe, I guess. I'm going to knit a swatch with the yarn I bought last year and work out how much I would need to make a sweater for me, and decide on stitch pattern and that kind of thing, and actually work out how much yarn I would need, and then see how much it costs and see whether that's financially doable. And if it is, then I might buy that when I go to Norway. Going right at the end of September, so I'm going to be away for the first 2 weeks of right at the end of August, so I'm going to be away for the first 2 weeks of September. Recently I reached 2,000 subscribers, and I can't remember which episode it was, maybe episode 75, 76, I can't remember, but I did a prize draw and I chose a winner, and I commented on your comment, on her comment, and I also announced it on the next podcast, but I haven't heard anything. So I'm going to do one more shout out, and if I haven't heard by the 15th of July, I will choose another winner. So the winner was Denise Beasley. So Denise, if you're watching, please send me an email. I'll put my details below and we will sort out your prize. And if I haven't heard from you by the 15th of July, I will choose another winner. So Denise Beasley, please get in touch and we'll sort out your prize. If not, I'll choose another winner on the 15th of July, and I'll publicize that in the first podcast after the 15th of July. In this video, I'm sharing a few clips from when my parents were here. They were here for 10 days and we did a tour of Cornwall. Did a lot of the tourist things you do in Cornwall. We went to Mevagissey, we went to Anthony House, which is the National Trust property, we went to Loo, and a few other things. I can't remember now. But I obviously didn't film everything, but I filmed a few things. So I've shared those throughout this video. I'm going to finish with a video from Anthony House. So we went to Anthony House, which is a National Trust property near Torp Point in southeast Cornwall. We went there with my parents on one of the first few days they were here. And then I actually went with Simon again yesterday. And some of the stuff I filmed was filmed when I went with my parents. Yesterday I mostly filmed, they got this huge black walnut tree in the garden which looks amazing, and I mostly filmed that tree because it's so massive and so impressive. They did tell us how old it was and I can't remember, but it's very old, and it was part of the Queen's Jubilee canopy. I'm not sure if I know what that was last year for the Queen's Jubilee, but Google it. It was only one of 3 trees in Cornwall, part of that apparently. So I will put those 2 videos here now to finish this off. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.